Hey traders, it's Danielle. Welcome to the free video. So, I don't know if you noticed, but today was a pretty crazy day in the market. Today we ended up, I don't know, now we're up about 8.45%. That's 600 points in the NASDAQ. It's pretty insane. So, everybody, of course, wants to know, well, what's going to happen next week? Well, I can tell you one thing. Today for the market to be up so much after it got just completely slaughtered yesterday, first of all, it's not entirely that surprising. That does typically happen after a destructive move. But I will say that I don't think that that means that this overall destruction has been repaired. But I do think that it sets the stage for a short covering rally on Monday. So sorry, that's kind of messy handwriting, but it's supposed to say short covering. So why? Well, first of all, the reason why the market tends to move like this, especially at the close, is because you have a lot of people that come in and they get short at these lows. And when the market's just rolling over and dying, you can imagine how that's easy to do, right? It's short, it's falling 5, 6, 7%, and you think, oh man, I think it's probably a good time to try to get short. Surely it's going to continue going lower. Well, what happens is the put call gets incredibly high, okay? Yesterday, the put call hit an extreme high of 1.67. Now, we normally say 1.2 is extremely high, and so that's displaying that you have a lot of put buyers out there. So what happens is, the market can go down, it can go down, but when the market gaps up and you have a lot of traders short, what ends up happening is you get a massive short covering rally. So, it's something like, it's like a recipe. You have the market that's selling off, you have a lot of put buyers, you have a gap up. It's a recipe, but you don't know when it's going to kick off. So I thought we were going to get one this morning, and we didn't get it this morning. The shorts weren't too scared then, but towards the end of the day, they just absolutely, they just went crying crocodile tears to sleep. And so this is something that I'm looking for on Monday morning. If you zoom in on a lower time frame chart, you had a lot of volume and momentum in the end of the day. You had the NASDAQ that traded almost 200 points higher. You had Microsoft in the last 20 minutes of the day that moved up 10%. That is an incredible, just crazy type of move. So, when you're looking at this type of thing and you think, well, why is it moving like that? That's an insane move. It doesn't really make any sense. It's because too many people are short. You have a combination. Number one, too many people are short. And number two, number one, too many people are short. Number two, longs are starting to come in, and it just creates this type of explosive movement to the upside. So, how do you trade it? Well, that's a whole nother thing. But typically, this, for example, this was how I traded it in the options room today. So these are some Q calls. Ended up, trading it from about $1.80 to about $7.50 for about $2,500 just in that 20-30 minutes. And then also traded it in the NASDAQ futures. So you have this move in the NASDAQ futures. I'd have to go back and see what my actual entry was, but $5,185 in about 30 minutes. And I didn't even get that last 50-point pop. So, pretty crazy move. So moral of the story is that's why I'm watching for this on Monday. Now, what would it look like if it's set up on Monday? Well, today, we can go back to yesterday. This is the overnight price action right about here. Okay. So we closed right around here, and then we opened up right around here, limit up. I thought we were going to get it today. The very key point of this was that there wasn't any momentum at the open, so we didn't get it directly on the open. But I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and waited, and finally, at the end of the day on Friday, boom, momentum move came through. So basically what I'm looking for is a combination of, number one, you need a gap. which would be a gap higher. Number 2, you need MOMO. Momentum move to the upside. There's a couple different ways you can get in it. Sometimes, especially in futures, I'll just I'll put like a buy stop order. So, if you're trading at 8,000 and let's say I want to get in at 8,020, I'll just put a limit order up here and then boom, as it takes off, it'll just rip it and it can go with it. That way you ensure that if there's no momentum that you don't get into the trade to begin with, which is ideal, right? So you can do it that way, or you can just get into it, and then if it doesn't work, you can get out. You can also do that too. But basically, I'm just looking for that in Nasdaq futures. You can also do it in S&P futures. You can do it in the Q calls, SPY calls, anything like that. But we just basically have the stage set right now, where with this high put call ratio, with the way that the market closed up so high today, we have that potential for another short covering rally on Monday. Now, you might ask, okay, Danielle, what if it actually gaps lower? In that instance, we would not look for a short covering rally. So if it gapped lower, it really just depends. I mean, sometimes I'll fade the gap at market open. Sometimes I'll go with it, especially after a day like today where the Nasdaq is up 8.45%. If it gapped lower, I might actually just go with it. But all of that just depends entirely on the momentum. So I hope you learned a little bit of something about the short covering rally at the close today and how we can look for another one on Monday. And beyond that, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. If you want to learn more, you can definitely check out my newsletter. You can go to www.5startrader.com. It's a free newsletter. I'm going to be uploading another one tomorrow where I explain kind of short covering rallies and all that good stuff. And also, Bruce is going to be having class tomorrow that's going to be on the Black Swan event, and it's how he kind of protects himself in overall times of volatility. So you can also go to simplertrading.com to check that out. And beyond that, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.